Well, it's time. It's time to finally do this. Hello everybody, I'm Make Levels here. Welcome to the Apology Tour, or the Coastville Postmortem. Whichever you wanna interpret this as. Before we get started, I want to acknowledge the people that were showing up in stream and chatting and stuff, helping me out with issues that I was having, and I was kind of afraid that I would be talking to myself on my stream, and I decided that I would stream like creating a vast majority of this, so I stuck with it and I did. But I was afraid like it would just be me kind of talking to myself for 100 hours while like nobody watched. So very plainly, I want to sincerely express my gratitude for all the people that showed up in stream and chatted and helped me out with stuff and gave me feedback and things. That makes it a lot more likely that I will do the same thing in the future. So thank you. Thank you again. I'm going to try to address things that were that other people called out in reviews so far and videos. I'm going to like play through each section and not really talk about it, and then once I reach a stopping point for that section, I'll talk about it. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm just gonna let's just get this over with. Kind of want to hide in a hole and never let this see the light of day again.
Dr. Freeman. Let's get a move on. We gotta clear out before they target us.
It used to be safer here.
Everything we do seems to make things worse. With you here, Dr. Freeman, we can finally make some headway. Keep moving, Dr. Freeman. I'll send word you're coming and see you up ahead. Give him hell, Doc.
Alright, let me turn on cheats really quick. Do I still have... Alright, I still have my no-clip bound. So I can fly around. Alright, so here was the intention. I wanted some custom VO for this guy. First of all, alright, let me just go in order. I have a bunch of notes here. I don't know why I added my name on the fade-in. I didn't do that for Bridgeville, and literally like 5 minutes after I emailed my entry into Philip, I was like, why did I do that? I don't want to do that. It feels like if you have the name power to go with your name, if you're frickin' J.J. Abrams, you know, or Steven Spielberg, you can go ahead and do that on like, hey, this is my movie. I don't think definitely not at that point. Super minor thing, but like the camera angle, he's like looking over here, but the guy is, you know, it's facing off. Like so many small things like that. I definitely did take the Dishonored mission intro style. I feel like it just has like a complete package of like context of like, here's what you're doing, here's where we are, here's what your goal is and stuff. The part where this fell flat is definitely that I had intended for the guy in the boat to have custom VO saying like, this is a occupied city and you're here to meet the resistance, the rebel resistance, and they have a mission for you. I don't know what it is, but once you're done with it, I will meet you around in back of the lighthouse. And instead, I chose to find random civilian lines and chop that together and make it try to seem like a coherent sentence, and it really didn't. Like, just everything kind of snowballed. Like, the lack of custom VO, the lack of context for what we're doing here, the disjointed VO in relation to, like, with the Striders, what's going on, so it's really kind of conflicting with what's going on. The guy is also using scripted sequences and not choreography, because I've never used choreography before, so he doesn't look at Gordon or the Strider or anything else. None of my guys look at the player at all. The boat doesn't wait for you to get off of the boat before sailing away. It's just all on a timer, which is really kind of bad. You can also, I should have like put it on secondary trigger. Once you're on land, then he sails away. You can also like jump back on to the boat, like right off to the edge of the map where he despawns and you fall into the water. Very, very high amount of kind of polishy type things that I just didn't have time to address. My water death is not actually set up to be a water death. It's just playing the leech noise.
Give him hell, Doc.
Yeah, okay, bye. It's just playing the leech noise and stuff. I didn't know the watery death volume was a thing. Craziness. So that's that. I used to have some like crows and birds flying around here. I gave up on it. Many problems trying to get them to fly away. Like getting a bird to fly away was the most difficult thing ever. I spent literally hours working on that, and just super frustrating. There's like some batteries over there, which I don't think anyone has found, but there's a couple dead crows and stuff as my tribute to the horribleness of working with crows and stuff. Alright, so now the second area. So none of these guys really
Changes in the air.
really look at you, as I said.
Someday, this will all be
I kind of intended this to be more like, not more like, but sort of to simulate the train station, I guess, from Half-Life 2, where there's lots of civilians and Combines sort of sharing the same space, although there's not Combine in the train station, it's just Metro Cops. But just to sort of give it the feel of, you know, it's not a combat space. It's they're all sharing the same world here, and you can't really do anything about it. You don't have a weapon. Yeah, I definitely intended for more city life stuff going on, more interactions. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff packed into the train station that just is not even representative of the space at all. Several people have said like the geometry is blocky, and I'm sure. I think a lot or most of Half-Life 2 levels are blocky, so I'm not sure if that's. I mean, it's definitely a fair statement. It is kind of blocky, but I'm gonna read between the lines and assume that what you're meaning to say is that there's a lack of detail. Which is definitely true. Like there's like no graffiti, there's not a lot of decal work going on, don't have like pipes hanging around, there's like a couple of electric boxes and stuff, but there's a lot of space for detailing that was just not done. Yeah, so there's that. Resistance leader guy.
Gordon Freeman, and about time too.
So this is another case of where I had intended for custom VO that would have potentially solved some of the what am I doing here, why am I here kind of thing that some other people were calling out. So this was supposed to say, this guy was supposed to say something. Well, let me just let this go. There's a lot here.
Right along there. And watch your step.
Alright, so more custom VO that I had planned for, but just didn't get the time. I've never added like custom VO, so I'm admittedly ignorant of the workflow involved. It seems like it's pretty simple. It's just like a WAV file, just recording it and hooking it up and giving it some name to play and having it maybe be in the right place in the folder structure. But anyways, he's supposed to say, like, we have a bunch of guys, we're ready to attack, but the main shields, you know, we can't get past the main shield on the main street, so your mission is to go into their base, reach the top floor, and, like, disable the shield, and then we will attack. That was basically the summation of what I wanted him to say. That's mostly it. In terms of like his scripting setup, like he is all chained together. Like once you cross this trigger here, he like says his line, he walks over here, he knocks on the door, he goes in here, he do boop boop boop, opens the secret not so secret door, and then he's like, right through there. So if you're way over here like playing, you know, I'm Philip and I want to jump over this wall with silly boxes and stuff, that all plays out and you can potentially miss it, and that was an oversight on my part. I definitely should have I think I should have staggered it a little bit so that, you know, you cross the line, he's like, hey, Gordon Freeman, it's about time, come on over here. He unlocks the door and he gets in here, and then he's just chilling here. So once you're inside the house, then he says, alright, so we got a bunch of guys, we're ready to attack, but we need you to go disable the shield, and then he goes, boop boop boop, alright, it's right down there, head on in, or whatever. It's also kind of weird. There's a there's a conflict there's a suspension of disbelief in that you're being asked to enter into a Combine structure of some sort, like a barracks or something, with no weapons at all, which is kind of silly. I added a couple of shields, some toilet ammo and stuff, just so that there's stuff going on in this house. It's not the greatest, but whatever. And then we get into the tunnel here. No one really like talked about this, but I don't like how it's super blocky. I kept, like, anytime I worked in this area, I would get leaks because I was turning like a world brush into a displacement and stuff, and I just kind of had to get to a point where it was like, all right, this is good enough, and step away. It's not even reached good enough. I don't really like it. But I kept on sort of stepping on my own feet, and I kind of just had to go elsewhere, work on other parts of the level. I added these flares in because I wanted to add like an achievement for, not really an achievement, but like a stupid little game text that came up at the end of the level or something, like, you ignited all 5 enemies on the bottom floor with a flare, like you got the barbecue achievement or something stupid like that. There's no way to tell if an enemy has been ignited, which is really kind of awkward and weird. Don't know why that is. Alright. So, basement time. Point of no return prevents backtracking through there once you get in. You see the guy walking up the stairs, and it's pretty subtle. Actually, the soundscape of the Overwatch is kind of overpowering the Combine chatter, but I wanted this. Don't do stealth. Just, if you have an idea for stealth in your level, just try not to do it. Just save yourself the trouble and the heartache, and don't do it. I wanted, like, what I was trying to avoid here was I'm running up these stairs into an environment that I don't know anything about, and oh crap, now combat's starting and it's all super chaotic and stuff. So I wanted to slow the player down by having this guy walk up here, and you can hear the Combine, so you're kind of like gingerly walking up here, and all the enemies are facing away from you, so you can kind of survey and plan what you want to do. Because I would really don't recommend doing this. Do as I say, not as I do kind of thing. Because these two enemies, this guy and this guy, are using scripted sequences, and because it's pseudo-stealth, I had to override their AI, which is subverting player expectations. You can seriously, like, body hump this guy as he's walking through the door, and he won't react to you at all, which is really janky and bad looking, and would be written up as a bug in like every self-respecting place ever. Yeah, several players missed the weapon rack. This is like straight up by the stairs. I was hoping it would be super obvious, like, weapons there. But it is not. I think in hindsight, I should have not done the stealth thing at all. Put like a gate up here or something with a normal padlock on it, and you have to, like, you know, break into a weapons locker or something and get weapons before you can progress in. Like, I think I got way too... I think I tried to be way too clever when I should have just done something super simple, like, gate. It has a lock on it. I know I can shoot locks. Alright, I need to find a weapon somewhere in here. Oh, there's a weapon locker. It's with a gun. Now I can shoot the lock off and progress. I think I just got way too, tried to get way too, clever. Alright, so anyways, let me get through this first combat here. Everyone's gonna hate the music. I'm sorry about the music. The music loops indefinitely. Hey! I was like 80% sure that I had killed you. Yeah, the music loops pretty much throughout this entire house. Sorry. Like, combat music is... I don't know. I don't know what would have been a better alternative. I don't really like this building. I don't really like how it looks on the outside. I don't like how it looks on the inside. I don't like the layout. It functions purely as a combat space and not really as a logical building of any sort. These things are just straight up holes in the wall, like not even an actual doorway. This isn't even doorway width, and this is. Normally, in any other building like this one, I will straight up just go online and look for a layout of a house or something and be like, all right, here is the bathroom, here is master bedroom, here is the master bedroom bathroom, here is like a closet, this is, I don't know, like the living room or something, there's upstairs and stuff. Didn't do that at all for this building at all. It's super irregular and stuff. It's probably not like the biggest detail. I don't think anyone said anything like, this space looks weird, but it feels weird to me. I mean, like, the stairs are all in different places. It doesn't really feel like a real building to me. I really don't like this first floor combat. 80% of the time, like when I go kill, maybe like half the time when I go kill these guys first, because there is an enemy here, and an enemy in here that like runs out, they all three clump up like right here usually to get line of sight on the player. Occasionally they will spread out if you're out of line of sight in here or doing something like way out here, you know? But a lot of the time you'll see them all clump up like right around here. There's just not enough cover in this area. I don't really know how I would solve that. Not using standoffs and instead using assaults. I could send them, you know, to different places and stuff. It's one of those things where if you play it, because they're on standoffs, if you play it like 5 different times, you'll get maybe 2 or 3 different variations of where they go. If I use assaults, I have to reconcile that, like, I'm sending them to a specific spot and it's going to be that specific spot every single time. I don't believe there's a way to randomize the assault point off of the rally point. But then, of course, it times out and they can do normal combat stuff after that. Let me see here. Crowbar said the combat was good but simple. I'm not really sure what that means. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I don't know. I don't necessarily think that simple combat is a bad thing? I mean, if you compare this to like anything else, like Marvel movies, right? Like very simple, kind of formulaic, but fun and good, and they make hundreds of millions of dollars. Like food, recipes, you know, cake. Everyone loves cake. It's largely like flour, eggs, water, and sugar. You know, it's so I don't know. I don't understand the combat was good but simple. If that was a good or a bad thing. I need to scroll down here. My copious amounts of notes. I added a whole bunch of batteries as hidden things. There's a couple there. There's one behind this little bookshelf. Kind of stole that idea from Crowbar. Second floor combat. All right, here we go. It sounds so weird without music. Alright, let's go over what went wrong here first. Because that is important in postmortems. Everything that's a pile of crap. These enemies are not limited to the hinge group on the second floor, so you can run down here. They will follow you and treat this kind of janky space as the new combat space. I had a problem with enemies on the first floor trying to run over there and use the bunker guns, the guns in the bunker, because all three of them are usable, but only one of them is actually being used by this enemy. If you watch Domo's video, one of the enemies actually did that. It went all the way over there, and then at the end, when you're supposed to have a high five celebration with the old guy who shows up, he like gets stuck because he's a normal civilian AI trying to kill the enemy that is on the bunker and stuff. So definitely not a bug, but a design oversight on my part in terms of this whole space. I like the explodey stuff. This bunker gun, it feels completely unnecessary in this context. I was intending it to be like the Combiner just saying, like, you know, he's coming, just shoot anything moving on this second floor, even though they're in this space, you know. Like, that guy's job is like, I'm gonna kill that Gordon Freeman guy, even if I have to kill a couple of the other Combine soldiers to go with it. I don't really know if there's any kind of if that goes against lore, if they have any kind of like self-preservation to go with normal things. It's not like a human, right? I don't know. Anyways, whatever. Getting off track here. Yeah, it's I kind of like the idea of a bunker, like a fixed gun, like shooting the hell out of something. If it can be presented in a good way. I don't think this is a good way because I'm trying to shoot at enemies. I can't do anything about this, and most importantly, like when I get to this place, my back is to what is shooting me, which is super not good. So I think like this kind of setup would be more impactful in like a narrow confined place, like a tunnel or a hallway or something where you just have to run down a hallway and it's like shooting at stuff in front of you and stuff like that, to make it a more kind of intense sequence. Right now it's not intense. Right now it's just like, oh, why is this guy shooting at me? Jesus, man, just leave me alone. Reading my notes here, sorry. Yeah, I like how this combat works out better than the first floor combat, but it's still Because I'm assuming it's because of the bunker guns. Like, these guys are all set up on standoffs, and that is supposed to hold them. There's a line here, and then there's a line down here. So there should be enemies basically in this L shape of an area. The fact that they run in here and do stuff is something that I did not want, and I could not resolve and figure out why it was happening. And I'm assuming that it is the bunker gun. They are breaking out of, they're like disobeying standoffs for, to go use that. I have to, do some testing or something and see if that's actually the case. Alright, let's get up to the 3rd floor, I guess. Crow was originally supposed to be there. Just a stupid little gimme gag, like there's a bird and you shoot the bird and then like something falls down, like a grenade or something. Yeah. Hello. I don't know why that happened. I gave him more cover. The 3rd floor is actually the only place where the standoffs are sort of working as intended. This guy, I don't know why they didn't see me when I went up here. That was kind of weird. That's literally never happened for me. I'm gonna eat those words as someone posts like 10 times that this stupid guy does something weird. Anyways, the narrative is supposed to be like they blocked off the stairwells and this guy is expecting you to come up the stairs, so he's kind of like waiting to ambush you, and then he sees you and he does that big old flinch. That's just sort of a stupid little thing. This one guy stays back here, but sometimes he also like runs back here. I think there's a couple cover nodes back here, and then these 2 enemies, that guy stays back there and that guy stays. He kind of runs back and forth, sometimes behind this wall and that weird crate of things. So this is sort of the only place where combat is doing what I wanted it to do pretty much all the time. Which is kind of unfortunate. Like 1 out of 3 in terms of combat doing what I wanted it to do. So the puzzle apprehension, I was pretty scared about this. I was hoping that people would understand that like I was hoping people would see the wire going to the shield and be like, oh, I need to drop the shield in order to like go use that blinky green light, but I kind of flipped that on its head and like, aha, gotcha, you did a thing where everything explodes. This is not really fully I mean, it's not really easy to understand that there's like a wire heading down to the shield, so that's what you're supposed to be doing, right? Like, I am lowering this shield that lowers that shield that lets the rebels attack the Combine. Unfortunately, that is really kind of unclear, and it's just... There's a thing over there that I need to throw a grenade at. Okay, it feels gamey. It is gamey. Because there's no, like, context. You're not really... It's not everything is cohesive and connected and stuff. It's just... I have grenades, and I'm trying to blow up a thing. Yeah. And now we get into the meat of the whole train wreck. I mean, let me just play through it once, and then we'll discuss the myriad of ways in which this was a ginormous failure. Frickin' ball! So I got the crash. The infamous crash. The infamous crash that I could not reliably reproduce, but as soon as it's in the wild, so many people are running into it. Very unfortunate. Died. This is so awkward. Oh man. Hooray! We only crashed and died once. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
You made it just in time. We gotta clear out of here before we're discovered.
Alright, so this guy's gonna keep on bouncing back and forth as I fly around here. Alright, let's take it from the top here. Let's, when I crashed I didn't return back on cheats. Alright, so I'm up here. What I did not want to happen is this building explodes and people stay up here. And they shoot at enemies and stuff because the order of events, and I'm not saying this is a good thing, because it is definitely convoluted, and there's way too much stuff going on in this combat space, but here's what is going on. Here's what I was hoping players would realize. Players come down here, they pick up a couple of health things, and then they see the rebels run in here, they see this guy shoot that enemy up there, so they can register, like, that guy has a rocket launcher, ooh. And then they see the sniper shoot this guy, which ultimately drops the rocket launcher on the ground, which you can pick up, and then you can shoot things with it. Hooray, that's sort of normal. The sniper is friendly, or not friendly, but neutral to the player until all the other rebels are dead, and then he starts attacking the player. He also misses on his first shot on everybody except for the first, the rocket launcher guy. So there should be like 10 seconds or so where the player can like register like, I'm gonna pick up the rocket launcher and I'm gonna shoot the sniper. That a lot of people did not do. And it's just a convoluted, like, the sniper's sole existence is to provide the player with the rocket launcher, which is really super terrible. Especially, like, snipers never share a combat space with normal Combine. This was just a horrible, horrible, terrible idea. As I was designing it, I think I kind of felt that it was kind of a pretty bad idea, but I kind of dug myself into a hole, and I was just like, I just need to get this done and get it out and over with. Ultimately, it was really, really kind of terrible. Alright, so that happens. I'm sorry about the crash. I don't know what causes it. I don't know how to solve it. Every once in a while, when you kill a Combine, the game crashes. I have, like, picked apart my scripting and stuff many times. I have no idea what it's doing. I've gone through like, literally between my final compile and when I sent this into Philip, I played through this like 15 times. No clipping, just to the final battle and fighting the final battle. Like, playing through my whole level 15 times, never got the crash. I could never reproduce it unless I was like no clipping up into here, starting this whole thing. I'm also killing the friendly rebels in the house and stuff, and the other like Combine and ragdolls that were out here. They're also being killed via a trigger in the tunnel and stuff, so the only way I could get this crash to happen was when I was doing things that a normal player could not do, or should not do, rather. I mean, unless you turn on cheats. If you're crashing the game while cheating, alright, you're kind of asking for it at that point, I think. And it kind of slipped through. I kind of rolled the dice on it. I was like, alright, I can't reproduce this. And then when I was playing it after other people were saying it, I finally got the crash once. And I was like, oh, damn it, it does happen. It is happening. Sometimes, I don't know. I couldn't reproduce it. I can't fix it. I don't know what's causing it. If anyone does know what's causing it, if anyone can point to something very specific, my VMF is included in the mod if you're smarter than me and you can figure out what's going on. I would greatly appreciate it. The ship's kind of sailed on this mod. Like, I can't fix it, right? It's out there in the wild and stuff. I can't patch this. But if it's like, oh, you did this when you shouldn't have done that, then that would be great, because that's knowledge I don't have. I would appreciate it. Let me... Oh. Alright. So... yes, that's a crash bug. The music bug, every once in a while... My crappy combat music is on a loop. I couldn't get it to loop properly, so it's actually on a logic timer just to play it again. People weren't liking it, which is understandable. But for some reason, like, when this guy comes out, the combat music wasn't ending, and it was overlaying on top of other things. I don't know why that was happening either. It doesn't happen all the time, and I couldn't reproduce it consistently either, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. And I got to a point where I was just like super frustrated, and I couldn't fix it, so I was just like, screw it, whatever. People can, hate me for music stuff. Alright, so now we get to the actual meat of the combat sequence. Instead of bugs. Yeah, so I didn't want players up here, staying up here, which is failure number one. Like, I needed to incentivize getting you into the combat space or something. Like, this all should have like dumped you into the space, because hanging back here does not seem terribly fun, and I would rather players engage with the space and run around and, you know, use physics props and kill things rather than like trying to snipe enemies back here due to just a shenanigan, a wonky difficulty curve that is definitely on me. I don't think there's anything important going on in game audio that we need to hear about. So, alright. Yeah, so that was the intended kind of logical thought process between the rocket launcher, picking up the rocket launcher, and then you're getting a choice, like, do I shoot the hunters, do I shoot the sniper, whatever. Everyone that I saw that was like getting killed like multiple times, they didn't see the sniper, or they ignored the sniper or something. The sniper was killing them. Snipers do a lot of damage. I think like if this whole thing was normal, I removed the rocket guy and just had a rocket on the ground and removed the sniper, like I'm sure a vast majority of the players would have a completely different perspective on this final battle, because it seemed like the sniper was killing them a majority of the time. But anyways, alright, so let's discuss the rocket crate now. There are rockets here. There's one rocket here. There's two rockets here, and there's two rockets here. Once you find any 3 of those 4 spots, then the Strider gets a signal to blow open the rocket crate cage. I really I find mods that just drop a rocket crate on you and you have to feel like you fight a gunship or something pretty boring. There's not very much dynamism to it. It's just like I'm staying in one spot, just shooting a thing, which is kind of hypocritical because I spend most of this combat encounter in this one space because it's the most safe place to be. And then, so the rocket crate, it's just this ginormous, like, tantalizing thing that's locked away behind fences that you can't get to. So players were just hanging out in here and not running out and getting the rockets. I still think that this setup could work, but not in this layout. A layout that is where this works successfully is in Nova Prospect with the gunship battle, because it is a bit more of a... It's a bit more of a linear space. You're running through an area, like you're coming across a group of enemies, you kill them, and inside is a rocket or two, and then you can, shoot the gunships, and then, over there is a couple more enemies, so you run over there, you kill them, and in there is another rocket or two that you can shoot at the gunships, or you can save it to shoot at the next group of enemies. In a linear path, if it was like you come down here, there's a ginormous thing here blocking off this entire area, and then there's a couple enemies there, a couple enemies there, a couple enemies over here, and you have to like go to one, to the next, to the other, and then there's a rocket crate that ultimately is unlocked because at the very end, I think that would have or could have worked. It's just not in this open of an area, because once people see this rocket crate, they're like, ooh, I gotta stay here, gotta stay here, gotta stay here, and they don't really move around. Yeah, so that's the the rocket crate. I think the biggest failure of this is that I had Nobody playtested. Well, I had one person playtest this after the Strider and the Hunters were added, and that was the person that gave me no good feedback. The people that did playtest it playtested the first iteration of this, where there was no Hunters and there was no Strider and there was no Sniper. And I'm sure that they probably had a very different experience with it. For the one person that did playtest this, I was specifically asking for a high skill player to play my combat on hard, tell me like if it was too difficult, what happened. They played through it, they said it was pretty easy. I was like, what? Alright, do you have a demo file? They didn't have a demo file. I had to explain to them how to make a demo file. They finally made a demo file, and then I finally watched it, and they were playing on easy, and I was like, you played on easy, dude. I'm looking for like hard, you know, is balance for hard? Like, is it too much? And then the only response I got was, does difficulty matter? And yes, it frickin' matters. I think people should realize that if you're playtesting for someone, you're providing a service for them. If you just want to consume content that is out there, don't volunteer to playtest, because there's a certain expectation of the author is expecting to get something, to get some amount of feedback. Like, is something too easy, too difficult? Is there too much of something? Is there too little of something? Is this puzzle clear? Do you know what to do? Etc., etc., etc. And if you're like, oh, I'll playtest your stuff. Yeah, okay, it was pretty easy. That's not very. And then if they specifically ask for hard stuff. Anyways, I'm getting off on a tangent here. I was I was pretty upset about that. So I had nobody playtest this, and that I think is the biggest lesson to learn from this House of Horrors here, is have people playtest your stuff. Because when you have it in your mind, like, oh, all the player needs to do is jump down, see that a sniper is killing a rocket guy, pick up the rocket, kill the sniper, see that there's rockets lying around, so I need to pick them all up. Once I pick all them up and shoot whatever with them, then the Strider will unlock the cage. No matter how clear that is in your mind, it's guaranteed to not be clear for someone, or someone's, or a vast majority of someone's. In all the videos I've seen, like all three of people playing this, the Strider never opened this in the correct way, like in the way that I intended. People propped stacked to jump in there, and then they had to like jump back out to shoot at the Strider. So, yeah, postmortems are all about. It's kind of a difficult process to go through. I really just want to hide and pretend I never made this, but thoughtfully exploring your failures as a designer is important. So hopefully I will definitely learn from this. I definitely have goals for the next Vil of what to do and what not to do. And the what not to do is definitely a lot more of what not to do than the what to do, if that makes sense. There's more things that I know not to do than there is to do. I'm confusing myself here. And last but not least, this guy, I kind of wish this guy would jog rather than walk. Some people like were way up here, which is kind of unfortunate. This guy, he like will go back to where he lost you, so if you get in front, he'll start walking back and stuff. He's leading you to a goal, which is right here, and then he goes down to the boat. I should have just had his goal be the boat. Should have tried to figure out a way for him to jog or run or something. That isn't the case. And then that's kind of it. That's the end. Oh, there was one other... Shoot, I should have... Let me jump back in really quick. It always... what am I doing? It's kind of inevitable, but it's still frustrating when after you're done with an entry and then you're like, oh, I should have done this instead. It happens all the time. But in hindsight, because hindsight is 2020, here is how I think I should have solved this whole thing with as little change as possible. Here's what I should have done. Building explodes, but you can't get out into the combat space. On the second floor here, there's like a weapons locker with a rocket launcher in there. And this rubble is like pushed back. Maybe like this whole floor like blows up. So instead of a ramp, it's just, you know, it bisects this room just like right here. So over here, there's a rocket. There's like a weapons locker with a rocket launcher inside of it. So you see it as you're coming through this space, but you can't use it. And then, and I guess this is super janky because you can technically go all the way around and through this space again. No one did that. Anyways, so you get the rocket launcher, and then you have to blow up something to open the way up into the final combat space. That would eliminate the need for the sniper. That would eliminate my need for the you know, the stupid rebel providing you with a rocket launcher because you already have it. And then I could do the same thing with the rockets in different places throughout the environment. Maybe hide away. Maybe like if this entire garage was like blocked off. So you have to like stay out here until you find all the rockets, and then it blows up, and then you're able to go inside, and then you're able to access the rocket crate. I think that maybe, like with as little change as possible, I think that would have changed the dynamics of this entire combat House of Horrors thing, Trainwreck City, going on. That is yeah, I think that's what I would have done if I had like a second pass at this. I'm not gonna follow this guy again. That's about it. I think I tried to address everything, or at least most of the stuff that I saw in reviews. Yeah, the rebel walking too slow. I wish this was a jog, or... I originally had him just waving at you over there, but I don't know. I'd never used an AI goal follow before, so I was like, oh, let's have him like walk with you to the boat. Problem is, as with all games in an escort quest, is that the player is like 12 times faster than the AI. So it becomes the modern military shooter, where you have to wait for this guy. Oh, and also that the rebels are all dead at the end. There's nobody like, hooray, we did it! Oh, everybody's dead. Dang. Sorry, guys. I don't remember who said that, but that's very true. We didn't really accomplish anything because everyone's all dead. So we didn't save this city. I mean, it's a big city. 4 people died. 4 rebels. But having more rebels enter this space, and they're like, "Hey, good job, Gordon," probably would have helped you feel that you did something actually meaningful. In addition to that, like the very, 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 very last thing that I felt like, bringing up is my naming convention for a lot of the scripting stuff. This is more like Hammer workflow type of stuff. Ooh, that's pretty janky there. I need to figure out a better naming convention for my entities and enemies and stuff specifically. For example, like this would be like Final Combat, Combine 01, Combine 02, and then any like math counter that it's going to will be like Final Combat, math counter or something. The problem is, when you use wildcards, sometimes it was catching things that don't relate to that entity. If that makes sense? I don't know if that does or not. Basically, like, if I'm sending all the, you know, final combat combine on an assault to their rally points, sometimes the math counter will be caught in that wildcard. And I don't think it broke anything, but when you, in Hammer, when you hit Alt-P and you look for problems, it reports bad I.O. And it's, you know, who knows, it might be causing the whole crash thing. I suspect that it actually might, because I'm telling the enemies to get off this gun when a certain amount of them are dead. But one of the times that I crashed was when it wasn't this. Man, that whole crashing thing. Anyways, that's gonna be it for me. Thank God this is over. I never have to look at this again. Many apologies to the people that are getting crashes in this. It's unfortunate. I could not figure out how to solve it. Sorry about that. Sorry about the music bug with the looping and stuff. Couldn't figure out how to solve that either. Don't know why it was happening. Sorry about this crappy looking ginormous texture that just blends into. Let's just figuratively end this whole experience and be done with it and never look at it again. Yeah. Thanks for watching. I hope you learned something not to do in your own map. There is plenty to draw on from what I did. Until next time, I guess the experimental mapping challenge will be coming out soon, like this weekend,
Okay,
maybe, possibly. So, until next time, thanks for watching, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.